Alright, it's Henry again, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the 1:100 scale Virgo. Now this is a kit that you cannot buy anywhere, because I built this kit from scratch. In case you haven't seen any of my work in progress videos on this kit, I figured I'd show it off unpainted first. Anyway, I basically started off with a few parts from 1:100 scale Tall Geese and 1:100 scale Serpent, and heavily modified each and every part until I arrived at this, a 1:100 scale Virgo. This is the first entry into my Oz project, even though I finished the B Club Aries before this one. This was the one I started on first, and the second one I ended up finishing. So, as you can see right now, he's very discolored, a lot of primer, a lot of epoxy putty, a lot of bare resin. So, let's go ahead and put a coat of paint on this guy and continue the review. And after 6 months of hard work, or more specifically 2 or 3 months of hard work and 2 or 3 months of slacking off, the 1:100 scale Virgo is finally complete. The first scratch built entry into the Oz project. So this is the final product. Gave it a nice coat of paint, painted it up in the standard colors, and I think it turned out exactly the way I wanted it. I really like the paint job. I think I did a pretty good job on that. I used a base coat of black for all the black parts, and then highlighted them with a dark bluish gray. And I think that works really well. I've just gotten to the point where I don't like using straight black anymore. I always have to have some kind of off black, like a dark gray or a dark blue or something. And for the red parts, I just used a base coat of white and then went over that with red and did a little bit of highlighting. And the gray parts are just gray with some highlighting as well. Used a few gunmetal parts here and there for a little bar up under the neck, the little thrusters on the shoulders. Used some kind of a brownish gray for the details on the face and on the side skirts there. So this is what the final kit ends up looking like, and I tried to add, like some panel lines and details and things. I had some panel lines up here on the shoulders, but those are on the line art. I added some panel lines here on the legs, kind of goes down and wraps around there. And he's got some panel lines on his feet. Did detail on the bottom of the feet, which I think turned out really nice. I really like that. And then again, up under the side skirts here, I scribed in some panel lines and some little vents there, painted those silver. I even went as far as scribing little lines on the knuckle joints for the hands, just because I'd seen that on a few like Xeon mobile suits, and I thought it would look cool, so I did it on mine. Put some detail on the elbow joints there. And, oh, one other bit of scribing I did, if I can get this thing off, is down inside here. I masked and painted the inside of those gray, and then put some detail inside there as well, so it's not just plain gray open space whenever you take the planet defensors out. And then for the decals on this guy, as you saw in some of the work in progress videos, I got these Roma Filler Foundation decals. Put one here on the shoulder, and then one right here on the side skirt, a really big one. It barely fit on there. But I thought it would have been, I thought about putting it up here on the shoulder, but I think it would have been too small compared to this big open space, so I decided to put it on the side skirt. And I'm happy with it. And then I got an Oz 02 MD right there on the chest. The rest of the decals, the little white caution markings all over the kit, came from just various leftover Master Grade decal sets, Victory Gundam, Death Scythe, and I think maybe 1 or 2 Samuel decals here and there. Little 23 right there is actually a dry transfer decal from some old master grade. And the little purple jewel for the camera eye, I think, looks really nice. It's the perfect color. Anyway, so that's all the work I put into finishing the kit. Let's go over articulation. Alright, the head is on a ball joint, and it's going to go up about that far, down about that far. It's got a little bit of side to side, and then it's got pretty much 360-degree rotation. The arms can rotate 360 at the shoulder. Obviously, with these enormous shoulder armors, you're not going to get much posability out of the shoulder joint, although these can go up, which will help. So the arm can go up about that far, or actually can, like I said, go 360. And they're going to be able to go out until they hit that shoulder armor right there. I've got a 360 rotation below the shoulder joint. And then with these little elbow joints I put in, you're going to get about 90 degrees of movement. And unfortunately, these elbow joints aren't as stable as I would like them to be. I think they'll hold up the beam rifle just fine, or beam cannon rather. In fact, I think the one for the right arm is a little bit stronger. But like I said, about 90 degrees of movement, and I'm happy with that. It's not like I was really wanting a full 180 degree bend at the elbow. One thing I added kind of as an afterthought, actually a commenter on YouTube suggested it, was I added a ball joint at mid-torso. And that way I was thinking about just kind of pinning it in place with metal rods. But I added a ball joint, so now he's got some side to side. Doesn't have much forward movement because of this little blocky piece right here. But he can go back and forth a little bit and side to side and rotate on that a little bit. So he's got some torso movement there. And then the waist can rotate 360 right there. The legs, the hip movement, unfortunately, is a little bit limited just because of the way it's shaped. It can go forward only about that far. That's about how it was on the tall geese. And then it can go back about the same. Can't really go in and out very much, unfortunately. The knees, however, I think I did a pretty good job on. You gotta bend them carefully, but I think you can, actually wait, it's kind of weird, you have to bend one knee joint before the other one. There, you gotta bend the lower part of the knee joint, then the upper part. And I think I can get a pretty decent bend out of it, and as you can see, I made it, I actually connected the knee armor to the knee joint, so the knee armor bends with the knee. And that's something that I'd wanted to do since the beginning of the project, and I think it worked out pretty well. Let's see if this one can bend any further. About the same. Before I painted it, I'd gotten it to bend almost a full 180 degrees, but I think the painting has stiffened up that joint a bit. But that's okay. I'm perfectly happy with the way it is. Like I said earlier on in the work in progress videos, the ankle armor just kind of floats. It's not really connected to anything, and it'll just sit on top of these old round parts on the ankle. And the ankle joint is just a standard ball joint. The ankles are actually really tight because of the painting, but they've got some side to side, and go forward and back, and they've of course got a little bit of rotation to them. But everything on this, all the joints on this kit are really, really tight, which I guess is better than being really, really loose, so I don't have to worry about him falling apart or anything. So anyway, that is articulation. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Now, of course, the Virgo's one and only weapon is the beam cannon. And you guys saw me making this in the work in progress videos. I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to look very good at first, but after I got it finally assembled and painted, I think it actually turned out really good. I was watching Gundam Wing, just kind of trying to get some color reference for Virgo, and I noticed that the beam cannon in the show seemed to be a slightly different shade of gray than the gray on like the hands and the joints and all that. It was kind of a greenish gray, so that's what I did. I took gray and just put a little bit of green in it, and I actually really, really like this gray color. In fact, I may be using this greenish gray on future model kits. Anyway, I went ahead and pretty much permanently attached the trigger finger hand to the beam cannon, because it's not like he has anywhere to store it when it's not in use, so I'm never going to be using it without the hand attached. And these little mesh pipes I found off of eBay, ordered those, and connected them, and this little block right here is going to connect up inside the shoulder armor. And I figured I'd spare you the sight of me fiddling around with this kit trying to get the beam cannon into the hand. But there it is, all attached. In fact, this thing could be a little bit straighter. And there you go. I've drilled a little hole up inside the shoulder armor, and it just kind of plugs in there. And then put the wrist into the hand, or wrist into the arm rather, and there you go. That's your beam cannon. And it'll move up along with the arm. Again, everything's really tight, but I think I gave it plenty of length here on these cables to get pretty much any pose I need them to be in. So I think, I don't think there should be too much problem with slack on those cables. But overall, I think that turned out really nice, especially those little mesh pipes. I'm really glad I bought those. If you're wondering about those, just go to eBay and search for braided PET sleeving. PET is in 3 letters. And you will find tons of it, and it's dirt cheap. So anyway, there is one other thing about this shoulder armor, as you might have seen in the work in progress videos. This top section, if I can get it off, there's nothing really to grab onto. There we go. This top section comes off, and a lot of times in the show, Virgo would be firing the beam cannon, and the little generator up here would open up, and you could actually see the generator running. Earlier in the work in progress videos, I just had like a little circle of ply plate in there. But since then, I've added little turbine fins to it, and we can put that on there. It'll go down in the hole. There we go. And we have the open mode for the shoulder generator. Painted that in gunmetal. I think it looks really, really cool. I think adding those little ply plate fins to that really made it look better than just the plain little circular disc I had in there previously. That just adds that extra little dimension of visual texture to the kit, and I think it works out really nicely. And I decided to give Virgo 4 different hands. The 2 closed fists you already saw, the trigger finger hand on the beam cannon, and a open right hand. And I didn't bother giving him a right open hand because I figured I'd always have him displayed with the beam cannon. But I gave him a left open hand specifically because I wanted to do this pose. Just because I thought the two-handed approach with the beam cannon always looked really cool in the show. Now originally that was all I was planning to do with Virgo. This review would be over by now, but at the last minute I decided to throw in 2 bonus parts, and well, actually more than 2 parts, but 2 bonus accessories rather. And I think they actually turned out halfway decent. Now the first one regards Virgo's other accessory, the planet defensors. A lot of people suggested that I make little wires or plastic rods or something and have them attached to an action base, and I think that works perfectly well for a mobile suit where the little flying thingies, funnels or bits or whatever, are used for offense, like Sazabi or New Gundam for example. But the Virgo, as well as the Virgo 2 and Mercurius, the planet defensors were used for defense, not for offense. So, I made a custom accessory, an energy shield for the Virgo. And basically what this is a sheet of clear plastic, and then I put some squiggly hot glue on here for kind of a electricity effect, I guess, and then went over it with the airbrush and pink, and then put in some little metal rods right here for the planet defensors to sit on. And I actually borrowed this idea from a guy that entered my contest last year, Dan Paraoan. he entered the Red Brass Mercurius model kit. So I want to thank him for having the idea in the first place and allowing me to borrow it. And there we go. I attached a piece of an action base connector at the bottom of it so that it can actually connect to an action base. And then you plug in the 4 planet defensors, and there you go. A nice looking energy shield for the Virgo. And for a last minute idea that I did on the last day of painting, I think it turned out pretty nice. So there we go. That is that accessory. Now I do have one more. And the second bonus accessory I came up with was a selection of battle damage parts. I figured since Oz mobile suits have a history of blowing up upon sight of a Gundam, I figured why not, I'll throw in some battle damage parts. And like the shield, these were just kind of an afterthought I came up with towards the end of the build. I figured I had the mold so I could make multiple parts. So I figured I'd make a alternate lower torso, cut it in half, as well as a alternate bicep and cut that in half as well. Just kind of put some fluorescent orange in there for the hot metal look, like it had been freshly cut by a beam saber. And so now if I ever wanted to have the option of displaying Virgo being cut in half by Wing Gundam, I can certainly do that. And it's actually kind of funny looking at this. And before we wrap up, I wanted to do a couple of quick size comparisons. Here is Virgo compared to the Master Grade Wing Gundam. And they're just about the same height at the head. Virgo's shoulders are obviously a lot bigger than Wing Gundam's, but at the top of the head I think they're about the same height, so I think I got Virgo's size pretty accurate. Here he is next to my Leo, which if many of you saw my Leo review, I said that I thought I made him a little bit taller, and as you can see, Leo is just a smidge taller than Virgo. And here's the B Club Ares that I finished earlier this year. So that about does it for my review of the 1:100 scale Virgo. How do you like Virgo's awesome box art, by the way? And this project was a labor of love in every sense of the term. I've put more work into this single kit than I've put into any kit that I've built up until now, and I'm really, really proud of just everything on here. I mean, there are things that I think I could have done better. I think maybe the head could be a little bit smaller and maybe shaped up a little bit better. I think maybe these planet defensors could fit inside their holes a little bit better. I think maybe I put a few too many decals on it. But just like little things, little nitpick things, overall I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I'm really proud of the fact that I now have a model kit that nobody can buy anywhere. I have a 1:100 scale Virgo. And hopefully in the coming months I will have even more Oz Project kits, because as soon as I finish this review I will begin work on Virgo 2. So yeah, I think I've said just about everything I could possibly say about this kit in the course of this review and the work in progress videos. And I thank each and every one of you who have shown an incredible amount of patience and waiting for me to finally finish this kit. And I thank you for all of your comments that you've given me so far through the work in progress videos. And I hope you enjoyed watching this guy as much as I enjoyed building him. So that about does it for this review, and with that, I will see you guys next time.